hurry, define this place or we'll be late.
Make a left on Astrology Avenue. Oh, I'm sorry, I meant right. It should be right here. 444 Spirit Way. Oh, turn.
It looks like Renee. Yay, we're on time. The James and Kellee Show.
Great, let's start the show.
So, Kellee, what are your strongest senses?
Okay, so my strongest sense is clairaudient. And I'll tell you why. So clairaudient is clear hearing. So what happens to me is I'll hear something. I start hearing. I have a conversation with spirit. I start hearing. It's like I just hear it as if somebody's talking to me. Now,
subjectively or objectively?
Well, objectively.
Outside yourself.
Outside of myself. It's not me. It's objectively. Yeah. You know, at first, it's a good question. At first, you start when you're getting into all of this.
I think it's subjectively.
You do.
But I think I've been with you where it's been a mixture of subject and object with you. When I've been on stage with you.
That's
a little bit of both.
Well, we know each other so well.
Yeah, but most mediums are subjective of clairaudient, or they'll use clairaudient is mostly subjective. Objectives, but I've been with you where you hear a voice right.
I hear a voice right then and there. I mean, I had a situation just recently where I was actually going to feed my dogs. It was early in the morning. I shared this with you, James. Yeah. I went to go feed my dogs. Normal morning, nothing special about this morning. I walked in, I got the food, and as I was about to put the food down, I heard. In my head, I heard a voice that said so-and-so was going to have cancer and you're going to have to help her and blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, the next day, I was stunned when I heard it. The next day, the phone rang and this person said to me, I have cancer. I need some help. I couldn't believe it because she's a young woman. It's something that I would have I wasn't thinking about her. I'm not close to her. Just came up and out. So anyway, that's what happens to me, James. I'm more of that.
Differently. So I'm clairaudient as well. My clairaudience is, the way I can only describe it to people is thoughts that come into my head. Like I'm hearing someone speaking, but I'm hearing really quick words. And it'd be like a normal speech would hear, good morning, how are you? For me, it's so quick, Clarissa. How are you today? How are you today? Yeah. It's so fast.
Oh, you're okay.
Yeah. And in mine also, which mostly everybody and everyone on this, probably in this chat here in this room, is what we call clairsentient, which is sensing.
Clear sensing. Yeah. Really sensing.
So feeling something, like when you walk to a room, you'll feel something, or you meet somebody, you'll feel a positive thing or a negative reaction. That's sentience. That's using your second, third, and fourth chakra. These are your emotional centers, and that's where your clairsentience is, right in these centers.
And that's where if you walk into a room, as you just said, and you could, I used to play a game with that. I'd walk into the room and know exactly what was going on with everybody, and in fact, to the point where I thought that everybody had that, and I think that they do, but they just either don't think about it. Because you can tell when you walk in a room, right? Can't you, James? I mean, immediately.
100%. 100%. When I walk in a room, when I meet somebody, I can see them. Right. I know them right away, 1, 2, 3. Right, who they are, their energy, 1, 2, 3. I just know it. Right. And what happens is, and this is really something I think is true. This is a hypothetical, which I think is really true. I think as children are very open. And I think children learn to mistrust adults. Because this is how I think their first lesson. They see the adults for who they are. But the words that come out of the adult's mouth, they're not match the vibration of the energy that the child is seeing or knowing. Right. So the two don't match. And to me, I bet that's how they don't trust right away.
Right. And the first 2 years is called trust versus mistrust.
Oh,
so that's it. Exactly. Yeah,
it is. So a great exercise for clairsentience that I used in my classes. And I did it with Janelle Campbell, by the way, who did it.
Oh, yeah. I remember this. I was there.
No, this was in Dublin. This was in Ireland.
Oh, okay.
I blindfolded her. I put her to the front of the room, I blindfolded her. Then all the students are sitting down. And I said, now you're going to completely go where you feel you need to go to. And she brings her contact from the spirit world. And she goes right to where they lead. They're pushing her. And she ends up about 50, 60 people in the room. She goes right into the back of this girl standing right there. And it was the girl's mother, exactly. And spirit just because they gave her clairsentient. Her clairsentient is so strong that she sensed to turn right, turn left. And so all she could use was a clairsentience. She couldn't use any other skill. She was not allowed to use anything else, but she had to feel her way through. And she did an incredible job. And we all can do that. I really believe we all can do that. And I'm not talking about the mediumship necessarily, but psychic work, intuitive work, sensing, and your senses get heightened if you close one sense, another sense gets heightened.
Right.
That's what that exercise was about.
And there's actually a skill that you can do, James. There's an exercise that you can do for what you just said, and you can ask like a friend or a family member to show you a picture of someone that they know, but you've never met them. And you really look at the picture and you start to feel by observing all the aspects, and you try to focus on maybe the person's eyes, or you tune into their energy. And then you wonder, you start asking yourself, were they happy? Are they relaxed? What is it? What are you feeling about this person? Can you trust this person? Interesting.
And it's a lot to do with the exercise psychometry exercise, where you hold object of someone's, like a glass case, and you feel the emotional energy that's connected, not necessarily with the case, but where it has been, who's been its owner. And you might have to ask, who does this belong to? What do I feel emotionally from that person? Oh, did it go to several hands? You find, and it really does work. And you can hold it close to your solar plexus and get that sense. It really.
Well, you did this on one of the cruises, several of them, I think.
All of them, I do. I do the psychometry on all of them.
Yeah.
And then we don't use it, and then we have people holding each other's hands, and they pick up things. And, Yeah. So most is all clairsentient. All of
that is clairsentient.
Kellee, what about you have clairvoyance as well?
Oh yeah. Now, of course, I have clairvoyance, but I will tell you, it's not my. I mean, I think you and I are equal on the clairs, but. Because I have a thing, James, where I have trouble looking at somebody to see what they really look like. Like, I actually really just see a soul. It's hard for me to remember what somebody looks like. Right. So as a clairvoyant, I'll get a picture in my head, or I'll get a symbol in my head, or I won't be necessarily be able to describe it to a T. Every once in a while I can, but mostly I'll get just an image, something quick. What about you?
Yeah, so clairvoyance for everybody is not only medium, it's psychic, of course, it's intuition. So it's another skill of intuition. So clairvoyance, I see quickly, and it's interesting because, again, it depends on the intention behind it. So if I'm communicating with a spirit person or the spirit world, and they're giving me evidential information, I find that it's very easy for them, or for me to receive it, if they show me in my head like an object or a room. For instance, and you've seen me do this, where I say, your mother's talking about the necklace that's upstairs in the bedroom. I don't know what the necklace is. Well, let me show you. And they bring to my mind a picture of the house or the apartment. I go up, you see me just go up the staircase, describing the carpet, describing the pictures on the wall, going to the second bedroom to the left. And they yes. And you go to the second drawer and you open, and sure enough, and they do that a lot. It's easy for me, clairvoyance, when I get pictures of things, of objects, I'd say. And things like, let's say, collected old cars or a postage stamps, whatever. I see those things quickly. They can give me that. If they want to show me themselves, I have a hard time. Like you, I have a hard time sometimes getting a picture of the person, not unless it's a characteristic that is really strong.
Gets it, exactly.
Like a mustache, or
a big hair, or
But what I do get better, Kellee, is my clairsentience thing kicks in. If the person was, and this is an interesting thing, because when the spirit comes through, we're only talking mediumship, folks, or mediumistically. When a spirit comes through, if they have a large personality and a great sense of humor, like me, then I can get up easily. Yeah. Same with you, right? Because if they can match the inspiration of you, it's easier for you to read them, get them, and describe them. Yeah.
Right. Well, and also with clairvoyance, it's also looking at auras.
Yeah. So clairvoyance is looking for auras, and it's interesting.
And colors.
Yes, and it's also, for me, it's also what do you call it? Clairsentience mixed with clairvoyance. So when you like for colors, I feel a color. I'll see a color, but I also feel the color. It's very true. So and there's a name for that, believe it or not. I just had it, but I don't remember it. But I don't think it's a real one. I looked it up as clairsentience or something. It's touching something. But I sense a color. I feel the color. I sense the color, feel it, and then see it. And it's so interesting because when you do healing work and you work with, let's say, with the auric fields and the realm, you'll see a color when you start, but then when you finish, you bring the energy in. You can sense how much the auric fields expand.
Yeah. Yes.
And the color gets lighter.
Yes.
That's
so
pretty
true.
Cool. Feeling color is cool too. And you can do that also by putting a blindfold on and going over different colors, and you'll feel the different frequencies of each color. That's a good one.
Right. Well, and if people want to, get here it is. Here, James, she writes. What does it say? Synesthesia.
Yes, I guess that could be that. No, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. Yes, I wrote it down, but
Have you heard of? There's a couple of other ones. Have you heard of? Which I thought was kind of fun. Let's see, Alliance, which is clear smelling.
yes, I do. Claire. I couldn't pronounce it. Aliens. A sense of smell. A sense of smell. And I've had that. I'm really good with that. I'm very good with smell. I'm really good with smell. They'll give me perfumes. They'll give me aftershaves, cigar smell, cigar.
Yes. Yeah.
It's a good one.
Yeah.
That's a good one, actually. I like that. I like bouquets, roses, flowers. They give me a smell of perfume.
Right.
That's
Right.
evidence. What's your mother's favorite perfume? And
Right. So true. One of the things that I wanted to mention too is when you're for clairaudient, I get a lot of this with people. People will say, I hear ringing in my ears, or I'm off on my ears or something. And often I feel it's their, spirit is working with them to open that up.
Same. Activating that channel. Yeah. Same.
Right.
It always happens when I have a lot of students in development and they'll get a lot of ringing or they get a lot of buzzing. And even
Buzzy.
Yeah. And even when you're sitting in a circle, you'll feel them manipulate the auric field and they'll stretch you up and they'll push you down and you'll feel it stretching out. The same thing they're working through. And I always remember the cartoon as a kid I know what a cartoon was, where they take the handkerchief and go in and out of the ears.
Yes.
Like that sort of thing. It's like feels like that. And it's also clairvoyance. They'll show you colors. They'll show you, they work with shapes. They'll open up that vision. Remember, it's all about expanding. So they'll expand.
Exactly. Oh, and that's another thing that you said, that they'll also you'll start seeing geometrical shapes. Now, this did not happen to me, but it does happen to so many people. Did that happen to you where you start seeing geometrical things?
Yes, but the first thing I remember, really remember, which was really quite evident when I was first started the development circle, it was really interesting. I was aware, and it was also a sense of knowingness. Okay. I was aware that I was looking up, and I wasn't looking, but I was aware of looking up. And I remember it was like a whole forest. And then all of a sudden, I was up on the other side of that, looking down at the forest, and there was a tree, but it was a whole forest. And I was like flipped over the other side. And that was when I was just developing. It was almost like this wide range of everything. Wow. It was like an expansion. And that's what I was aware of, very much so. And it was also a feeling I was getting, this expansion. Yeah. And that tends to happen in development. When you sit in a circle, you get those sensing of development, of expanding, contracting. That happens quite a bit.
Well, and as you're developing as a medium, maybe one thing starts more. Maybe the clairaudience starts more, or maybe the clairvoyance, or often I find with most people, it's the clairsentient, the feeling of knowing, the sensing of. I mean, would you say that that's using your gut?
Yeah, let's go with your gut. That's using your gut. That's using that. Yep. And the let's see. So clairvoyance is here, the pineal gland right here in the third eye.
Yeah.
Clairaudience uses the throat chakra. So that's the throat chakra being activated. So many times when you find when you work with people and they weren't able to speak their voice, they wouldn't let them speak the voice. When you work with them in a development lesson or a school or a class, and you work with them for a couple of days and you open up that center and you do some mediumistic exercises, they're pretty incredible when they start hearing, because they open that up. And they've held that back for all that time. So when you open up those channels, it just pours out, waiting to pour out. And then there's the one Clairgustance, right? Which is Clairgustance.
Yes. Have you ever had that?
I have had that.
Yeah.
I've had that. I had a taste of sauerkraut once in my life. Yes, my father used to love hot dogs and sauerkraut. And my mother used to make them sauerkraut on Wednesday evenings for dinner. Like,
okay, that's a funny one. That's a very funny one.
Sauerkraut. Yeah,
well,
sauerkraut. Yeah.
Well, when I started, I would start, if somebody came in the room and I'd say, "Oh, did you just have Mexican food?" And they would say, "Well, I had it yesterday." And I would, "Oh, did you have this?" "Oh, no, I'm craving a hamburger." I mean, I really had to go through a lot of hoops to get to where I am with this. Yeah. But the tasting one was an odd one.
Yeah,
very odd.
Augustus, and the thing with that was, what I would get a lot, Kelly, and not as much as I used to, but a medical condition. So when someone passes away, or they're in chemicals like heavy chemo, or
yes,
I get a metal taste in my mouth, like, oh, it tastes like metal, and I get that quite a bit for the evidential. Yeah.
Well, you know what they say about that too, that if you're a psychic medium working for people that have been, say, murdered or any of that, like poisoned, that sometimes a psychic can pick that up, or a medium can pick that up from the Claire tasting.
Clairgustance.
Clairgustance, yeah.
And now another one I used to get, which I haven't gotten in a while because I stopped doing private readings a long time ago. But I remember very clearly when I'd get a gunshot and I'd get a piercing hot sensation. So that's feeling, right? And then I'd feel it, but I really feel like it was a sensation, tactile, tactile. I'm sure that you feel it and you sense it, and it was a burning sensation, whether it's in the chest or the head. I'd have that. And sometimes I would get a sense of, if there was like a hanging, I'd get it around my neck. I'd feel a choking sensation.
Now, would that be clairvoyant?
No, that would be clairsentience. I'd feel it.
You'd feel it. Okay.
Or That's something called clairtactics or clairtactical. So it's feeling, touching something.
Yeah.
But that's the sense that of feeling that. But at the same time, that spirit showed me. So sometimes, and many times, the spirit will send you a message in multi senses. So it'll be clairvoyant, clairaudient, and clairvoyant, clairaudient, clairsentient all at the same time.
Yeah.
So you figure, as a medium, you got to go figure this whole thing out. Right. There are some spirits that really use one and they'll do really, really well.
Right.
But most of the time, good 90% of the time, they don't know how to communicate. Just like we don't know how to receive communication, most of us, right? They don't know necessarily how to use those to send it to the medium, or in that case.
But I always feel that they're working on the other side. They're coming to watch how I work, or watch how you work, or observe how another person works.
They do that all the time. So I remember I was doing a demonstration many years ago, and I was aware of the audience there in the theater. And above them was like all these beings of white, looked like a choir, white light. There were all these white shrouds. And there was all these beings. And my guides were behind me, and different guides I had that night. It's funny because the guides that I had that night are different depending upon the audience members, which I thought was fascinating. Yeah. And the type of messages that were going to come through.
Wow.
The types of guides that I'm working with. Yeah. But this particular night, I said to my guides in my mind, I said, who are these beings? And they said, they have nothing to do for anyone here in the audience. They're here to observe. So at a later date, they will have the opportunity to learn how to do this and try it themselves. So we're merely just watching this for
just to see.
And they check out mediums. They check out, when we do reading, there are many beings around us who are just watching us, watching the process, so that at a future date, they'll have the opportunity perhaps to use that process. Another famous story, I call it a famous story, which I think it is, and I like it, because we never can remember what we get. But I've said this on the show before, but I want to say it again because it was a really good one. That I was reading a girl in the audience in the second row, and I remember it was our aunt that came through, and good communication started. And then I was aware, clairvoyantly, by the way, I saw this man, spirit man, walking the side of my eye, came in his way to the front, and he had his arms folded. And I just knew, claircognizant, that it was her father, the girl's father in the audience, this man was. And I said telepathically to him, this is your daughter. Do you want to communicate with her? And he said back telepathically to me, while I'm still communicating with the end. So you're juggling many things at once. He said, why would I believe in this? I didn't believe in it in life. Why would I believe in it in death? Okay, so you keep your same mindset. Right. I said, okay, that's fine, but just come on and watch us do it. And then just see what it is. He goes, yeah, I'll watch. I'm curious. He got closer and closer, and he was aware that the girl understood her aunt's message very, very clearly, and he was kind of like shocked. And he said to me at one point, can I give it a try? I said, yes. And I said, your father's here. He goes, I was hoping. I said, he wants to give it a try. Well, he was able to tell her he loves her. He was never able to tell her.
Oh, my God.
He had that opportunity to tell her he loves her. And he was sent there by the spirit world to have this opportunity. And he tried it and changed up his mind. And he turned to me and he said, thank you for giving me my life back.
Oh, my gosh.
Good one.
Really good one.
And, everybody, it's really important to note that when you sit to develop your senses in this way, you have to be patient. And you have to let the spirit world work with you. You can't push. You've got to let them. It's a process. It's a flower. You've got to really just let it process. Don't be in a rush. Right. You don't need the part of the development was the best part for me. I really mean that. In the development circle is some of the best experiences I ever had.
Well, I was lucky. I got to sit in a development circle with you.
Okay.
So it was life-changing, really. Yeah. And you have to do the work. You literally have to go into that space, James.
Yeah, you can't do a spiritual bypass.
Right.
Because the quality of your work.
You can't do. Yeah, there's no such a thing. You cannot do a spiritual bypass, period. You'll screw everything up, Patricia Stanko says, when you see spirits, do they appear as though they were alive?
Well, what do you think, Kellee?
Well, most of the time. Yeah, most of the time. I mean, I don't.
So you got to remember a couple of things. I have fun stories. Sorry, don't
Yeah. No, I'm glad.
That remember that the reason for mediumship is evidence of life after death. That's what it does. So what they will do is they will show themselves as you knew them. So if they came in very, very young, you couldn't recognize them. Well, what's the point? The point is that they will show themselves. They will present a picture, and they create a picture. They materialize in their minds. Remember, it's mind-to-mind communication. That's really what it is. The brain dies a physical death, but the mind is a part of the soul. So in their mind, they are able to create a picture of themselves, and they'll send it to the mind of the medium. And when I open the mind of the medium is, they'll get that and they'll give it to the participant. And they'll say, your mother had red hair and she had beautiful green eyes, hazel eyes. Yes, just because they're just telling you the picture that they're seeing. Now, this is another really interesting one. So they will appear to you. Usually they will go back to the prime of their life, but in a communication setting, they'll come back as evidence. Okay. So this is an interesting one. I did a reading for Kim Kardashian years ago, before Kim was Kim.
Before you had to sign the contract.
Before I signed a contract. It was when I first started being a Chelsea show, right? And
Yeah.
she was an unknown pretty much, but she was friends with Chelsea. And I remember was sitting there on the couch, and it was in Marina Del Rey, and the makeup artist was next to me. And this girl, Kim, came in, and people had been there, but Kim then got up, and I didn't know who she was. And I turned, and I've never said this, me. I said, what a rear end. Oh my God. She has a gorgeous rear end. It was a natural, gorgeous, perfectly shaped rear end. And I said, the makeup artist, that girl's it's a gay guy. I'm like, what great. She goes, no, that's Kim Kardashian. Who's that? It's Kim Kardashian. So that was that. Then I did the reading, and her father, who worked on the O.J. Simpson trial, remember?
Yeah, Robert. Yeah.
Her father.
Wow.
And he showed me a I think it was a melanoma on his face. Oh. And she helped him. She either told him about it, helped him with it, and that was exactly right. And that's what he showed. So he showed me. The picture he showed me was that.
Oh my gosh. So he showed you the picture. So clairvoyantly you saw the picture.
Clairvoyantly, the condition that he showed me. So, and that happens all the time. If people have maybe of I don't know, certain operation, they might show you the scars, the tattoos. They show us some tattoos. They'll show us all evidentially. You have your earrings. They'll show us the earrings. It all depends. It also depends on how the spirit wants to communicate. So some spirits are more clairvoyance, are able to be more effective that way, or clairsentience, or
clairaudient. Yeah.
They're a big talker in life. They'll be a big talker in death.
Right.
They don't change, folks.
They do not change.
The biggest reaction I've received from the spirit world was before. The number one is, this is so natural. I can't believe I'm dead. This is so great, incredible. That's
right. Number one.
And the second is, am I really dead? It feels so wonderful.
Right. And then they'll say, the third thing is, I'm not dead.
I'm not dead. I'm not your mother.
My mother. I'm not dead.
I was on a plane.
It's such a fear of death.
I was on a plane from New York to come to LA.
It's true.
Tell them the story.
You
Kellee.
called me. My mom had just died. There's no way that you could have known because you were on a plane. You were like at 30,000 feet, and I'm like in shock. My mom's dead. And then you called, and I couldn't even get the words out. And you said, I know Lou died. I know. She already wanted me to tell you she's not dead.
And she was, boy, she's strong. I'm not dead. Tell her I'm not dead.
I think she was so happy to get there and then realize that she wasn't going to die,
And we make such a big thing of death, and there's no reason.
Right?
No reason to. And So it's a pretty. People are pretty shocked when they pass out of the body, and they're like, "Wow, I'm alive." Being dead is living in a physical body. That's kind of death.
Right.
Down here, because this isn't our natural vibration. Right. We're in this meat suit, which isn't natural.
I know. Meat suit. It's so true. Well, thank you, James. Thanks
Kellee.
everybody.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for
Take care.
Bye,
See
everyone.
you next week.
You've been listening to Both Sides Now and Beyond, featuring spiritual medium and master teacher James Van Praagh and spiritual medium and psychotherapist Kellee White.
That was great. Maybe we changed some lives.
And maybe opened up some minds.
Which way do I turn?
Right. I mean left.
The James and Kellee Show.